This is AirGunsNirvana with a detailed look at the hammer mods that I've used and my custom Crosman air guns. In front of me here are some different hammers. These styles are from 1377. These styles here are commonly found in the different 2240, 50, 2260s, 2400 KTs, all those different variant type guns. The most recent hammer style that I've modded is this style here, which came from a 1701P target pistol from Crosman. Let's take a close look at each individual one. To start off with, this is the style of hammer that I'm most familiar with because this is what I grew up with. It's the old rear style cocking hammer. I was having a problem dumping a full 20 pumps from my valve, so I took and added this little plastic shim to give it a little more hammer spring weight. That did the trick on that. I polished the face of the hammer really well, and when you polish a sear to a high polish, when you combine those two polished pieces together, it makes for a really nice, smooth trigger. This is the more recent style hammers from Crosman. This is the one fresh out of the gun. This one here I've polished up to a high shine. Makes it to where it travels more smoothly in the tube, and also where the hammer and the sear contact makes for a nice smooth. Here's the old style for the 22, 40, 50, 60 variants, all that old rear style. I also added a plastic shim to shim up the hammer spring on it. Polished this hammer to where it's a nice high shine. On the 22 variants, the sear engages half cock here and a full cock there. So this, you can get a low power, more shots in the 22 with the CO2 as opposed to the higher power, less number of shots with the CO2. These other hammers here are more current production 22, 40, 50, 60, 2400 KT, as well as the Benjamin Discovery rifle. This is what it looks like when it comes straight out of the gun. This style here is the more recent variant that is designed for the breech screw and the rearward position. These cutouts here allow to clear the breech screw. This one is a older style hammer that came out of a gun that had the forward breech screw placement. When I started adding heavier hammer springs to my air guns, I found out that the standard Crosman pin flopped around a good bit, and somehow it would bind up inside the tube and not allow the gun to cock. It froze it up. I found out that a roto-zip bit happened to fit nice and snug and perfect in there. So I had an old one of these laying around. I cut it down and made it just long enough to where this part of the pin rides right inside the upper part of the breech. So if for some reason the gun were to turn upside down, the pin wouldn't just fall out of the hammer. And so far that has allowed me to use some seriously heavy hammer springs. Now on to the most recent hammer that I've modified, which is from the 1701P as well as the Benjamin Marauder pistol. Since I put it in a gun that had the rearward breech screw configuration, this hammer comes from a gun that is not designed to use this style of breech. It has it has screws that are placed on either side of the barrel and are forward of this assembly. So I had to cut for clearance for it to work in my gun because it did have the breech screw that stuck down. I also used my little hammer pin setup, swapped it right over. And on this particular gun, in the on this particular hammer, in the literature from Crosman says that the hammer has a dry film lubricant of some kind. So I didn't want to mess that up, so I didn't polish this hammer, just left it alone as it is. I hope you've enjoyed the information that was given. Please feel free to post questions and comments. I'll do my best to answer any question I can. Thank you and have a good day.